Hello, it's me. I'm hoping I'm in the group now. Good morning. If you haven't met me before, my name's Sunday, and I'm the founder and creator of this group and space holder and coach that comes in. And after having my own experience of being estranged by my 3 adult daughters, and so if you're new in, a very warm welcome to you. Hello, whoever's just joined me. Hello. So, I've come in today because some of you might know that I'm going through a little bit of a process, a bit of a healing process again myself. Having a little bit of what I would call a nervous breakdown, a bit of anxiety and depression. And after celebrating for so many years that I wasn't on any medication from a prescribed sense, I now find myself just in the early stages of getting back onto that medication. Fluoxetine, and I was on citalopram on and off since estrangement. I've tended to have this sort of nervous, depressive, anxiety type thing running through various big events in my life. So, and I was thinking today, like a lot of the stuff that I write about is about healing and in that positive, energetic way. And I realised just recently that I haven't written much or discussed much about anger. And somebody messaged me today about some release technique that I'd shared, that when I'd gone into a field and done some releasing, and she'd said, was there a particular method that you'd used or that the person who was with me had used? And there wasn't. And my anger journey is an interesting one, and I just wanted to reflect on that and how the anger that we feel as a result of how we've been treated by our adult children is something I think that many of us might bury away. Some of us might not. The anger's a funny thing. We either tend to, not many of us know how to express it healthfully. There's a lot of shame and guilt around when we feel it. But also equally, there's some people, me being one of them in my past, where we would just react it out onto others. So if we felt angry, we'd put that onto other people. We'd either hit or shout or vent or like that sort of energy and dumping it on other people. So I understand that, and I lived with a father who did that all his life, and I to a certain extent did that. But then there came a point. It's very healthy to express it out, but it's not healthy to express it onto others. But what I then learnt was that it didn't feel good the way that I was doing it, expressing my anger in that way, like shouting at other people or blaming them for whatever, my upset, distress, whatever. And what I realised is I had no boundaries to stop people. I'm skipping, let me just peg back a bit. So then I realised that I didn't enjoy doing it that way. So then I suppressed it, massively suppressed it, and thought, well, people have got a right to say what they like. It's their life, they can choose. What I didn't have at that point was boundaries. I didn't realise that people don't have an automatic right to treat me badly. If they're treating me badly, I've got to speak up, or I've got to move myself away, but I wasn't. I was taking it, especially from my adult children as they started this, we don't like your mum because you've divorced dad, etc., etc. That sort of energy that they were carrying. I had nothing in my toolkit at that point to handle that very well. I was either in my old style of reactive anger back. I once moved towards my daughter in an attempt to clout her, and my then husband intervened and stopped me. So I was still in those old ways of coping back then. And when I'm re-stimulated, it's really easy for me to want to yell at somebody or do a bit of road rage, or less so these days because I just don't like the feeling of being like that. So I have this tendency now to suppress it, and there comes the problem, because we've got all this resentment and anger and mixed in with guilt and shame. I shouldn't be feeling angry. I don't know if you've ever thought that to yourself. So it took me a long time to unpack all of that, and I did it in what's called a somatic way, which is that physical, energetic way of releasing, which basically was like beating the hell out of a punch bag or cushions, or allowing myself to really feel my anger towards other people to the degree that I would name them and I would say what they'd done wrong, what they'd done wrong to me, how I'd felt so hurt by it, and that I was swearingly, seriously pissed off with how I'd been treated. There was an element of me being cross with myself as well for allowing myself to be treated in that way, for not having enough self-worth, self-esteem, self-love, boundaries to say, you can sod off with that behaviour, you know, I'm not having that, you know. But I didn't. And so, you know, for me, this anger release in this somatic way is very healing. I've got a video on YouTube that shows you a description, it's not very long, around how to release anger safely, beating the cushions, and, you know, when you can feel it rising in you, the unfairness, the unjustness. I don't talk about this very much, and my apologies, because it's a big part of healing, is this coming to terms with your anger and feeling I have a right to be angry. They haven't got a right to treat me like this. What they did was appalling, you know, the way that I've been treated, the way that we've all been treated. It isn't good, it isn't on, it isn't acceptable, it isn't fair. You know, you can bring out your small person that says it isn't fair, you can stamp your feet, you can behave like a 2-year-old. This is sort of adult tantruming to release this stuff that we've suppressed, or that we've used in other ways to vent on other people. It's such a healthy thing to do. It feels, I had to give myself permission because I felt wrong for naming people, for actually saying what they'd done to me. You know, my dad hitting me, my sisters hitting me, when I, you know, later on around my kids, the way that I'd been treated, you know, and instead of, at one time, you know, I used to think that they would, I didn't realise they were projecting their pain onto me. But the lesson in all of this is to have boundaries, is to have limits, is to not allow ourselves to be mistreated, which is really hard with estrangement because they just jigger off and there's nothing to push against with that. It's like I'm dealing with a void here. But dealing with the void of being rejected, or whatever you want to call it, abandoned, that you can use that as material for getting into the cushions and beating the hell out of it and say, this isn't fair. You can even say, I have a right to be in my children's lives, which I'm not sure is true, but, you know, it's like we feel that. You know, it's like they're ours, but they're not really. But this is work in progress. This is going through the motions of this emotional releasing. So eventually I stopped feeling critical of myself for being angry and for calling people out on their stuff, even if it was just in a group setting where I was releasing this. So there's certain things out there, shamanic work, there is something called 5 rhythms, I don't know if that's in the States, where you get to move your body. They call it dancing, but it's not. It's like moving your body. And those of us who perhaps are more physical than others, who do lots of exercise, in a way that sort of like releases some of that surplus. But actually, to get to the root of anger, you need to go there, you need to be with it, you need to express it. And it really helps if you've got some witnesses around you who can hold the space around you. Don't freak out when you go into this powerful energy of anger, because it really is. I mean, even talking about it, you can see that my energy is up, because I'm still suppressing, I'm still not releasing. I found a method and I don't practice it, so I'm getting back into the anger practice. You'd be surprised if you start to gently punch a cushion with your forearms like that, like beating on your sofa or your couch or whatever, something soft. Be careful of your back. And if you can get on your hands and knees, and then get on your knees in front of your sofa and start to gently just beat and start to swear And then if nobody's around, or if somebody that you love is around and knows it, start to say the things that you feel hurt by, the people and names that you felt hurt by. You know, say the names of it and what they've done and how dare you. And I would not let you do that to me now, and etc., etc. Some of us will have loads of like historical stuff around our parents, our siblings, people at work, bosses, colleagues, fellow whatevers, life travellers, even ex-partners, maybe even current partners. So this, I think, is a real movement in how to express anger. So get your forearms on the cushions, get saying the words, and feel. It can feel a bit scary. So just go to where you feel comfortable to start with. Don't go for the full out unless you're ready and you're going to blow your top, quite literally. But do know that it's healthy, that it's normal. It's absolutely normal. What isn't normal is that we stuff it away. We don't get taught this stuff. We don't get it modelled to us. Most of us have been subjected to other people's anger and being beaten up, or verbally or physically or sexually or whatever. So we never get taught this in a healthy way. So now we have to teach ourselves. We have to get into the groove. We have to get into the feeling. And yes, it can be a bit overwhelming. But remind yourself that it's normal. Remind yourself that it's healthy. Remind yourself that this poison is coming out of you. And allow it to flow out of you the way that I imagine it now. Because I used to think I was putting bad energy into the world when I did this. God, talk about making it hard for myself. I imagine this sort of like poison in a sort of black, slimy form coming out of me. And it disappearing down a slide, a chute, some sort of thing going into Mother Earth. Mother Earth knows what to do with all this energy, all this dead stuff. She takes it into her soil, she composts it up, and things grow from it. So you're recycling your energy, your negative energy, into Mother Earth so she can do something with it. Because otherwise it just gets stuck in us. And it's interesting, once you start, I found that it's like all the cells in my body were going, once there was a gateway open where I'd started to beat and there was this energy leaving my body, it was like all my cells were like going, yeah, the gate's open, Chucks, let's get out of here. You know, anything that was stored was sort of like seeing this as a gateway into releasing. So I'm hoping that this video will help you. I will upload it onto YouTube, and yeah, just have a little bit of an explore around anger. Are you doing it great? Does it feel great to release it? How are you releasing it? Who can support you? It's so interesting getting witnessed, having somebody there witness you and saying, go on, you can do this. I'm with you. I'm not, you know, they're there for you, holding the space for you. It's really valuable. So I'll pop this up on YouTube. Have a look at my other stuff on YouTube. And this other, I've done a little mini video about anger release. So you get to see me doing it. And you'll be surprised if you start to punch something. You'll be surprised at how that brings up, if you allow yourself, it brings up the first sort of like flurries of anger. It can be quite surprising to feel it. And letting go of the guilt and the shame around it all, it was a big piece of work for me. Nice people aren't angry. Hell yeah, nice people are repressed people who are stuffing it all away. So there's something about being kind to yourself that supersedes being nice. In fact, nice is a funny word. Yeah, allow that bit of wild woman that wants to feel that energy out of her body. Allow her to come. It's been too long shoved in. All right, I love you lots. Thank you for being on with me. Oh, there's lots of you watching. Yeah. Whew. Bless you. See you all soon. Bye now.